The game is on the line right now.
And there's no wonder that nobody trusts them.
Throw a little vodka in there, it'd been a lot better.
But honestly, I'm just gonna smile.
I understand their tradition, I understand the helmet and the logo, but we got a logo too. There goes the cheetah, Tyreek Hill!
Where's that Sooner magic now, baby?
Awesome. What is going on, everyone? It's another episode of the ProbsCast. Special episode today. I have on a really great guy. I've kind of gotten to know a little bit here and there, virtually for sure. How do you? It's Kenny. What's your last name?
Novotny.
Novotny. Okay, man. It's one of those words that sit in my head, and I'm kind of like, it kind of runs through my head all day, and I'm like, dude, what in the hell? Like, how do you pronounce that? So I'm glad that I got a little clarification there. But yeah, so Novotny, right? So the reason I brought, for all the viewers out there, the reason I brought Novotny on is, man, you actually like crush it, and you kind of found yourself in a position that a lot of us here in Stillwater are in, where we're working at Eskimo Joe's, things like that, and you've really kind of like built up a great image of who you are, and you really represented Oklahoma State really well. But also, one of your most recent things is you've been doing NFTs, and I know that that's been like a hot topic and things like that because we kind of met through Pokes of the Purpose for all those listening. When it comes to you and kind of the range that you've done, man, I mean, so you were in school when?
From 94 to 99. I was on that 5-year plan.
I think a lot of us do that. They say Stillwater's best 4 or 5 years of your life, right?
100%.
Sweet, man. So you worked at Eskimo Joe's, but I mean, what was your degree and like what brought you to Oklahoma State in general?
My brother was attending Oklahoma State, and he was a senior while I was a freshman. We lived together. He was in ROTC, got commissioned as an officer, and finished up school and left me there to fend for myself. So, working was something that my brother and I both had to do. He worked at the Buckle, and I waited tables at El Chico and Applebee's. And like you said, I finished up at Eskimo Joe's and got to do some bartending and got to enjoy some game days, and still made it to the game and still made some money, and Stan and Eskimo Joe's still made some money. So everyone was happy, man.
Oh, that makes sense. And I mean, obviously, everyone knows Eskimo Joe's. I'm pretty sure it's still the second most sold T-shirt in the world behind Hard Rock, which is kind of crazy to think about considering, I mean, how many Eskimo Joe's are there, And
exactly.
So,
while I was at Oklahoma State, I majored in MIS, which is the Management of Information Systems. So it's the business school side of computer programming, because we still had to take most of the computer programming classes, but we also got the business side, the economics, the marketings, the accountings, and all the other good stuff, statistics from the business college. So when I graduated, it was 99, and, we all thought Y2K was going to happen and all the lights were going to shut off, and, there's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff happening. And back then, a lot of folks from Oklahoma didn't major in computers. A lot of the folks at Oklahoma State were foreign nationals or foreign exchange students and engineering students and such. So coming out of college in 99 with a computer degree was very marketable for me, just with the amount of opportunities that were in front of the employment community at that time. And so I went to work for a company over in Little Rock called Axiom. It's a large data marketing company, and got my feet wet with them. Did well on a couple of projects. And
have you always been like has your brain always worked that way, where you were like, oh, like I know I'm going to go into computer science? Because like not a lot of people from Oklahoma are like that. It's a very agricultural state.
Yeah. So my dad was a mechanic, so putting things together, we grew up, I don't know, I would say lower middle class. And when the washer or dryer or anything went out, we fixed it. We couldn't afford a new one. So, I was the guy fetching tools for my dad, who's a mechanic and can pretty much take anything apart and put it back together. So we learned and that's kind of how coding is, in the IT world, you're really taking something, putting it together and getting a result, like 2 + 2 on the calculator always is 4, but a computer geek at some point is the one that coded that and made it where the 2 is and where the times is, all of that was done by us computer guys at one point or another.
I mean, we have a whole lot of AI and everything like that going on now.
Absolutely. Well, AI is just a marketing term for automation, and automation has been in computer systems for decades, right? I mean, the computer system's been able to beat someone at chess for quite some time. And, people are all scared of AI and such. And us computer guys look at it as we've been telling machine learning how to go to the next step and execute the next step for many years now. It's just evolved to where we would expect it to be in 2023.
Really? Okay. I mean, that makes sense because I use for my TikTok and YouTube shorts, I have this AI program that chops it all up and adds everything to it. But I guess putting AI on front of it kind of makes it look like that Will Smith movie, The I, Robot, back in the day. So it makes people a little nervous, especially with the robots and how you can have conversations. But I always kind of thought it was around. I didn't understand the big pop behind it, but I was just curious your perspective in general, being the computer guy that you are.
Well, I think since 1999, a lot has evolved, right, in 24 years. And, Web 1, as we knew it, was your friend's dad taking photos of birds and posting them on, just his own website that was this long and no one knew where it was, right?
Yeah.
And then, Web 2 came along and, started offering the users an experience, eBay, Amazon and such. Us computer guys have a lot of problem with privacy and sharing of privacy. And, Amazon is utilizing our data in order to advertise to us. So someone is paying Amazon to profile someone like us. So when you buy a ceiling fan per se, you're frequently bought with this, might be some light bulbs, but then it's 2 or 3 things that you've mentioned over the past whatever. And that's something that's bothered us computer guys. And, as AI and as Web3 become more prevalent, what the users are going to experience is people not stealing their information to sell it to someone else in order to make $1 and hold your credit card information and everything else about you, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And, even I just turned 26 it's on Saturday. So, it's funny because a lot of, the older generation, they'll say, oh, you should know about all these things. And I'm like, I feel like you got to be a certain type of person to understand it. And, I can understand it to an extent. I'm not a full computer wizard or anything like that, but I have a general knowledge of what's going on. I can definitely open up Excel and tell people how it works, And so, yeah, it's kind of wild. So it went Web 1, Web 2, and then Web 3 is – so what's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3?
So Web 3 is really trying to identify you as you. So when we do a PayPal transaction, that's in Web 2, and we're assuming that email address of our first last name is actually us, right? And in Web 3, everything is connected with a wallet, and think of the wallet as your shopping cart.
Okay.
My computer screen went dead on me here. So Web 3 encapsulates a person as a wallet, and that wallet's like your shopping cart, but it's not just for Walmart, and it's not just for Amazon, and it's not just for eBay. You have a wallet, and that wallet is connected to multiple vendors that you choose to do business with. And so that way, whenever you have a wallet, and wallets are actually bank accounts.
Okay.
But when you have a bank account, I can validate that you are you. And that's how Web3 is working. It's all behind the scenes. So we don't know that it's different than Amazon or eBay, but it's just a lot more safe. And it also validates that you own whatever's in your wallet.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember as a kid, I'd heard of Bitcoin before because we'd definitely seen them around, especially growing up in the DFW area and things like that. But what's really taken like the world by storm are these NFTs, which I understand they're a non-fungible token, things like that. And by the way, for all the listeners, this is not an advertisement or anything. I'm honestly curious, but when it comes to Pokes the Purpose, they brought to me and they said, hey, this is, we're going to start doing NFTs. What do you know about them? And like I said earlier, a lot of people just expect me to understand that because I'm younger. And I was like, I mean, I understand it to an extent, but I mean, don't ask me to program anything over here. And they're like, no, we got this one dude's name's Kenny. You're going to love him. He's got the Alpha Trend and all these great guys that are going to come in, and it's going to help Oklahoma State win football games. And that was kind of one of the main things that was coming in. Who do we got here in the background?
Amber's just walked in. I tried to get her to come back behind the computer.
Amber, come over here and say hello.
Kate wants you to come say hi.
Amber, what's going on? How are you? Man,
she's doing hot mom stuff. She just got done taking our.
I was not expecting Amber to be that beautiful. It's nothing against you, but she walked on the camera, and that was awesome.
Hey, that's one thing Stillwater gives us all, right? An ample opportunity at gorgeous women. And her and I met in college, and I can't believe she stayed with me all these years, just to be honest with you.
She met you at Eskimo Joe's?
No. We actually met her first day of college. Her roommate went to Amber Pocasset, which is a tiny, it's actually 2 towns in Oklahoma. And her roommate graduated a year behind me, and my mom called and said, hey, you need to make sure Jana knows where her classrooms are, which means, hey, I need to call Jana and make sure she's got beer, right?
Yeah.
And her roommate, Amber, answered the phone, and she brought Amber over that evening, and the rest is kind of history there. So she's an awesome woman. And again, I don't deserve her like, a lot of people say that, but I mean it. I'm lucky to have her.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a hell of an investment by Amber for sure, going with you. And it's a great investment from the first day that she walked onto campus, you snagging her up. And I'm sure, she tried like hell to shake you, but you couldn't get loose of her. So, I mean, that's awesome though. That's awesome that y'all met there, and that's awesome that y'all built everything that you built. But staying on the original topic was
sorry.
No, you're good with the NFTs and everything like that, man. I guess what a lot of people have questions about is like, how does it translate to are NFTs the future? Is everyone going to be doing it? Because there's a lot of words that are attached to NFTs that can be negative. There's a lot of positives. I'm a big pros and cons guy amongst everything. But explain that a little bit about how it helps Oklahoma State and where the future of that is.
Right. So the NFT is a very loose term, non-fungible token. And is it our future? I believe it absolutely is. I mean, if you look at California and Montana, their car titles are an NFT on the blockchain.
Why Montana? Just out of curiosity.
They're the two that announced that they were going to Web3 and creating that. But, our IDs that are on our driver's license, like that's a perfect candidate as well as your title for your car, or really anything that you don't want a paper copy. I mean, it's 2023, right? Why are we still keeping up with paper copies of anything? So in the digital art world, NFTs, like for Oklahoma State, for instance, the team built them that CRM. And I kind of got the idea that there's a Barry Sanders statue sitting over here. And if you donate, so much money to Pokes with a Purpose, you get this big 30-pound Barry Sanders trophy, which is cool.
On camera. Snag it.
Sure.
Yeah, you should have came prepared. I don't know why you wouldn't bring that here.
It is here. It's just on my table. I mean, it's pretty good size.
My God.
Yeah,
that's
it weighs
insane.
like 30 pounds.
No, that's really kick-ass.
Yeah, and Harry Holden did this. He's the one that did the statue of Boone Pickens as well. That's on the west side of the stadium there. And but anyway, the idea behind it is if you give a bigger amount, you get something in return. And these digital images just allow Oklahoma State to take their their favorite athletes, men and women's sports, and present them much like a trading card, like we grew up with baseball cards. This is just digital, and you go to a website and you log on and you attach your credit card to it, and you can pick your favorite athlete. And where that money goes is directly to the athlete. All proceeds go to the NIL, and the NIL splits that up amongst the athlete and the licensing folks, and then they keep the rest of it. So it's a great project, and it raises a lot of money. It's like crowdfunding. Instead of needing tens of thousands of dollars for a 30-pound Barry Sanders statue, for as low as $30, you can go get one of your favorite athletes. There's even the ability to go pick exactly which athlete you would like. And there's some good legends. And I know you've had Mason Rudolph on the show.
He only had good things to say about you as well, by the way.
Well, he is one heck of a young man. And I've gotten the pleasure of knowing him and many of the others, James Washington and Chris Lacey and Dylan Stoner, all of the legends. I mean, we even got Dr. Schrum. She was a softball player back in her day. And so I'll give you a little bit of the economics, and maybe that'll make sense to you. But you've got Rock Reggio, let's say, or Bryce Thompson is also in the collection. So they're $100 a piece because these are our high star athletes that are producing for the school. Right. And so we limit the production to only 500 cards at $100 a piece, which basically equates to $50,000 being raised just in that one image of that one player. And like I said, the proceeds go to that individual player, to licensing for the college, and then the rest goes to the NIL, to folks with a purpose to be able to afford those scholarships for the other players. Because, the freshmen and the sophomore and the walk-ons aren't as popular today, but they're still very good athletes and up-and-comers.
What's the website for all this to be set up, by the way?
Yeah, it's okstatetokens.com.
okstatetokens.com. Boom. Banner. Bang. Look at there. Yeah, so if y'all want to go check it out, I got it right here. For all of our audio listeners, make sure y'all get that down. But, yeah, I mean, go check it out. I mean, what essentially whenever you and I have a lot more in-depth conversations, I just had to go and simplify it just because I do all the social media and I talk to the fans a lot. And I was like, look, if it's going to help us win ball games, then, I mean, everyone's going to be on board. You just kind of have to bridge that gap. So, I mean, if anyone's listening to this and, would love to help out our football team, that's a great way to do it, or baseball or whatever it is, for America's brightest orange to shine all the way across the nation. I mean, this is a simple step anyone can take care of that doesn't even start at $100. You can definitely, put it to your budget accordingly. And ultimately, I think it's really, really cool. And I was really amped up to not only have you on now, but to be a part of Pokes with a Purpose and meet people like you. I know beforehand you were talking about, I don't know if I'd want to come on the podcast because I'm not that interesting. I was like, dude, you used to serve at Eskimo Joe's and you worked in the Pentagon for a while. You got a Barry Sanders statue, beautiful wife. I was like, man, you're living the dream that every Oklahoma State student wants to live, if that makes sense.
Well, I think we always put one foot in front of the other and look for the opportunities. And, success is where those opportunities meet your skill sets, and the rest of it is about managing a team and building a team. Yeah.
So you worked for not just to pivot, but you worked for the Pentagon, right? And I wanted to touch on that. I had it in my notes because I think it's really exciting. Now, they just came out with aliens are real, but did you get any other conspiracies while you were there?
Well, I didn't work in the Pentagon. I've been to the Pentagon several times. My brother My brother worked in the Pentagon. I worked for the Defense Information Systems Agency, which we may have to blurt out. I don't know, but they're the data centers for the DoD, basically. Okay. And I was a project manager and worked several very cool projects. And I didn't see any aliens, but if I did, I would have asked them if they want to go hang out and have a beer.